Night owls. What is the creepiest thing that happened to you when everyone else was sleeping? I'll keep it short and creepy. I was 11 or 12 at the time in my room alone at night. Don't remember what I was doing. The window was open behind the blinds. I heard two men's voices right outside and one says, "Not now, she's still awake." I woke up shortly before the big Northridge earthquake outside of LA in the 90s. I was just lying there in the middle of the night staring at the ceiling and then heard a loud whistling sound, like a teapot boiling, that started getting fainter and the ground started shaking violently. I thought a bomb had gone off initially. No, just an earthquake. My parents were gone for 10 days. The second day I go to the kitchen and I see the back door was unlocked. I lock it. A few minutes later I saw the door known slowly twisting. I yelled, "Hey Dad, where is my drink? I put it in the fridge." My grandmother lived in very rural Kansas and told me about a time when she heard what they thought was a woman screaming. It would take the police a long time to arrive, so her kind does not call the police. Grandpa took his shotgun out to the doorway of the trailer. They lived in a trailer surrounded by farm fields as far as you could possibly see. So he's standing there trying to figure out where the woman is, and he hears it again, but closer. He's squinting, and the noise comes again, even closer. He said all his hair raised up and he ran back inside the trailer before he even made any conscious choices. His reptile brain just took over. Yep, a cougar. She stalked them all night too, trying to figure out how to open the tin can of deliciousness. She would poke at the windows and try to claw at the underside, which is just worn out aluminium. She eventually laid down underneath the trailer and slept for the beginning of the day, then sat in their front yard for a bit, and then sauntered away. When my husband was out of town a few years ago, I think our home was being cased because people kept showing up in the middle of the night ringing our doorbell. One was this really cracked out lady who wouldn't leave and kept saying she just moved there and wanted to make friends for emergency contacts or something. The other one that was really weird was a guy claiming he was a cop but was dressed as a normal guy and kept pressing me to know if a specific lady who I'd never heard of lived with us. After my husband came back, we installed cameras and the night visits stopped. All happened after 10 p.m. My partner works overnight, so I'm up during the night often. My experiences include a group of teenage girls just sitting in our backyard and watching a toddler play in the street alone around 3 a.m. I called the police, and the toddler was safely taken home. My creepier experiences actually occurred more around 5 a.m., with the sun up, when you'd think people would be a little less willing to be creepy. Once around 5:30 I felt watched, glanced up and saw a man peeking through the gap in our blinds. He bolted away. Another time my partner told me he'd be home in under 5 minutes, so I unlocked our front door. A man who was in the process of crossing the street looked up and grinned at me like I had opened up just for him. He made a beeline for our house and I slammed and locked the door so fast. I was up late playing video games in the house alone around 3 in the morning. My dad was working the late shift and came home in the morning, but sometimes he'd come home for lunch break halfway through the night, grab a quick bite and head back out. I heard the front door unlocking open up and someone step into the house. I paused the game and yelled down the hall, "Hey Dad." He always responded, but this time he didn't. I yelled down the hall again, "Dad, that's you," but no response. My heart sunk into my stomach, and I was frozen in fear. I sat there for a few seconds and then stood up. I slowly walked down the hall to the front door. The door was locked, deadbolt and all. I flipped on all the lights and started searching every area of the house, scared to death someone came in and was hiding in my house, but I couldn't find anyone. In the morning I asked my dad if he came home, but turned around and immediately left, but he said he brought lunch with him that night and didn't come home to eat. I still think about that night over 10 years later. I can't explain what happened. I heard the lock, the door and someone come into the house as clear as crystal, but no one came in. I can't explain it. I female used to clean a movie theater. Our shifts would start at 2 a.m. On a slow weekday night, I decided to go out and pick up the trash in the parking around 5 a.m. The theater was also next to a super busy road, so people passing by could see into the parking better than you could see them. I had headphones in and a grabby thing in my hand to pick up gross stuff, when I suddenly get a call from my boss who is inside the building. She tells me she just saw a truck pull into the parking lot, on the opposite side where I was, and we weren't expecting any vendors today. As she says this, the truck pulls up next to me and stops as a man starts to open his door. There was a clear moment when he started to lean out and then saw that I was on a phone call. I had my screen facing him because I was talking to my boss through the headphones, and the grabby thing over my shoulder like a baseball bat. He sees my hands, then looks up at me and says, "Looks like it might snow today." Then closes his door and drives off. I am 100% sure if my boss didn't call me, that man would have tried to grab me into his truck. I then warned everyone that no one should do the parking lot garbage until it's light out and to always be on alert. Drifted a bit on the couch in the den with my head on the couch armrest. I woke up when I felt the tiniest little paw tentatively reaching out and putting weight on my head. For some reason, I didn't jerk away. Then a second paw started reaching into my hair. I slowly sat up to look at what was going on. A large brown rat had found its way into the house, up the couch, and was gently climbing onto my head. I coaxed him down to the couch and he didn't run away. I just have a rat calmly looking at me from the armrest of the couch. Eventually, I got him into a box and released him into a field. Weird way to get a little friend at 2 a.m. I had the worst insomnia during the lockdown. Every night around 2 to 3 a.m. a red truck would park in my driveway and just sit there. The guy would chat on the phone and leave. My house's driveway was not easy to access, making it unusual for someone to just park there. Between the insomnia paranoia and the sheer weirdness of this, I caved and bought a Ring camera and downloaded the Nextdoor app. Found out he was a newspaper deliverer, but we never got paper deliveries and I never saw him leave the car. Super weird. I was up late, screwing around on the internet as usual. Everyone else was in bed, and something was clattering out on the deck. I ignored the noise at the first. I figured it was just the wind rattling the trash can lid. But the racket kept going, and my mind started to wander. Might be a raccoon, I thought. Maybe it crawled into the barbecue looking for food scraps. Maybe there are 2 of them in there trying to make more raccoons. The noise continued. I stood up, walked over to the sliding door and turned on the outside lights. They were the CFL bulbs that take about a week to warm up, so I couldn't see much and what I could see looked normal. Whatever was making the noise kept doing whatever it was doing. By this point, I was getting nervous. I was annoyed that I was nervous, and I was annoyed that some trash panda was making me nervous. So I opened the door, stuck my head outside and asked, "Can I help you?" A bear stared back from 10, maybe 20 feet away. It was standing on its back legs, making it about as tall as I was. Its front paws gripped the bird feeder, which despite the bear's best efforts, remained connected to the house. I stood there for a few seconds until my brain's pattern recognition software decided that, yup, that's a bear alright, and then I ducked back inside. When I looked back, the bear was gone, leaving behind a damaged bird feeder with a smashed trash can lid on top. Hey, if you like the video so far, consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video for more. The first Modern Warfare 2 had dropped recently and I had an entire wrestling team of friends with Xboxes. 1 a.m. rolls around, the summer night air wafting in through both open windows. In between bites of pizza rolls and I swear I hear someone say, "Help me." It freaked me out a bit, but I wasn't completely sure, and that particular phrase isn't uttered often. I pause and listen, taking off one side of my turtle beaches. A good half-minute passes. Nothing. I tell my friends about it. They roast me, telling me I'm imagining it, and I shrug it off. Again, I swear I think I heard someone distinctly say, "Help me." I fully take off my headset and wait. Sooner this time, and sure enough, there it is a third time, and I hear it clearly, a voice I do not recognize. "Can someone help me?" I was at the bottom level of the house, with the windows maybe a foot above the soil outside. Below is the deck. I am 3 feet from that window, feeling my teenage soul leave my body in fear. I run upstairs in a panic and inform my parents. Dressed in pajamas and armed with an airsoft gun, we investigate. An elderly woman with dementia got lost a few hours before and wandered into our backyard, fell and became delirious. We called the police and she was taken to the hospital, confused but unharmed. Glad to have helped her that day. Also glad to prove my entire team wrong. Felt nice. You can share your own story down in the comment below, and thanks for watching the video.